with no further ado, let me introduce our Executive Director, Nick Vyas, is going to come up and say a few words and get us kicked off this morning. Thank you all.
Okay, good morning. All right, we have 500 plus participants, and I think it sounded like only I'm here in this room alone. So let's try. Good morning. Well, welcome to the 10th Annual Global Supply Chain Excellence Summit. It's a decade-long journey, and I stand before you here today, reflecting on the last 10 years. What has changed in supply chain, right? If you think about in 2012, when we kicked off, a lot has changed since then. So let's start with some of the biggest and positive things that has occurred in our lives at the USC Marshall School of Business. First and foremost, when we launched both our Masters of Science in Global Supply Chain Management and then Center for Global Supply Chain Management, in our infancy, we had a vision. The vision was that we wanted to build the ecosystem that ties not only the classroom experiences, but the industries together to create the pipelines of the future leader. And we call that as a NEAR, Network, Education, and Advanced Research. What's changed? Well, we are incredibly proud to actually take that center vision into an endowed institute known as Randall R. Kendrick Global Supply Chain Management Institute. And it is really privileged to have a visionary leader who saw through what we have done and what we're capable of doing to really support the vision for next decade. So without further ado, I want to give a first very big round of applause to Randy for his support for taking a center and creating the institute that's going to lead the forefront of global supply chain for next decades and many more decades to come. So big round of applause. What else has changed? So let's start with some of the things on the supply chain side. We stand here at the inflection point of supply chain. The 4 decades of prosperity, the peaceful global trade supported by highly concentrated supply chain nodes, completely focused on efficiency, completely focused on cost and profitability. 4 decades in making, we realized the COVID pandemic exposed the structural deficiencies of our supply chain and made us actually sit back and look at what can we do? How can we really integrate supply chain that is much more agile, resilient, sustainable, and change the paradigm, not only change, but shatter the paradigm, break the paradigm to looking at the network design that we have not thought about. So think from that standpoint, I'm going to share some data points about why this supply chain of the future, that we're so proud to do that. But how do we do that? Because we had actually had the vision by which we launched the entire initiatives, both the center and the program, was 10 years old. It was cemented on driving the efficiency as its only and primary objective to now becoming very different. So I am very proud to announce that our board, our members, reflected in my conversations with Randy, our Dean, Jeff, Garrett, about what that future should look like. And I am so proud to actually announce, Wayne, can you actually, here's our updated mission statement for Institute, Randall R. Kendrick Global Supply Chain Management Institute, in front of you today being the first day of what our virtues, our vision, our action both from the program and institute side, that we're going to strive for decades to come. The USC Marshall Randall R. Kendrick Global Supply Chain Institute, known as Kendrick GSCI, exists to help predict, mitigate, and alleviate supply chain disruption and risks. Whole different ballgame than what we have done. We are capitalizing upon our global network, industry experience, and renowned faculty through network education and advanced research near. That's our core, our DNA. This institute is cultivating innovative, critical thinking, and resilient student leaders in a digitally transformative, data-driven supply chain ecosystem, delivering triple bottom line results, not single bottom line, triple bottom line results, agility, resiliency, and sustainability with NEAR. We can keep our member community up to date on industry macro, micro trends, news, and critical horizon scan. So ladies and gentlemen, I am so proud to reveal what this institute and our ability now to lead not only the domestic politics, the governance, but the global thought leadership, creating the next generation leaders, that they're much more holistic, comprehensive, in ability to solve the problems that we have underpinned over the last 4 decades of global growth. So this does not mean that we are deglobalizing. Quite opposite. We think the globalization has done incredible good to the human civilization. But can we become intelligent in terms of network design, create the redundancies, not waste, to ensure that nothing, no geopolitical issues, nor pandemic or natural disaster, create the disruptions that we have observed over the last 28 months. I stand here from the first supply chain summit to 10th. We're proud, 3rd year in a row, our executive program has been ranked #1. And I want to thank all my faculty, staff, and everybody here to take pride in that. So we'll continue. Institute stewardship will continue to foster to make sure that we're not only investing in the classroom for the 12 hours that you guys spend, but the other 72 hours outside the classroom, what value can we bring? How do we enhance that value proposition? And we're proud to be able to do all of those things. I'm not going to get through it, but our on-campus programs, I think we're doing phenomenally well, and we're going to continue to enhance our ranking. To that point, mission and vision. How do we continue to build other things that Institute can provide the value proposition? Data analytics, emerging technologies, AI, ML, blockchain. We feel that that's the one area that the Institute needs to really take a lead and forefront of driving the policies and industry practices. Remember in 2016, we were the first university to sign the Memo of Understanding with the Obama administration. It was 2014, excuse me, under Penny Pritzker, Secretary Pritzker, about digitization of supply chain. We believe the Institute has a key role to play in advancement of an intelligent supply chain network, and technology will play a big role. And we'll continue to foster on sourcing, sustainability, operations consulting, emerging tech, supply chain finance, healthcare, and in a variety of ways, industry needs that looks at it. But let's talk about the disruptions. Right? We simply cannot kid ourselves sitting here and take pride that we've been in this industry for 3 decades, or longer in many cases, and we allow this to happen. You imagine the amount of disruption, right? 172 countries out of 187, every imaginable continent, in spite of any of the diversity, socioeconomic, prosperity, first world to the third world or the emerging countries, none was spared from its consequences. Current geopolitical tensions, Russia, Ukraine, or even some future geopolitical issues. What are the implications of those things? We're seeing tremendous need for emphasis from the leadership, both inside the C-suite and bottom up, needs to start to think about holistic supply chain understanding of a concept of what I call the triple bottom line. We are ready to take that challenge at the program level to make sure our students, we're 900 plus strong in a first 10 cohort. We'll be about 1,500 when I stand here 10 years from now. That those are the leaders who are ready to shape the future of the organizations globally, embracing the globalizations while appreciating the concepts of agility, resiliency, and sustainability. Things that we talk about often and we write about often. This is no longer a conversation over a glass of wine that stays once we're done. This is something global trade's going to have to embrace. AI and automation, it's going to be part. There is no decoupling that can be justified unless the automation and embracement of AI and blockchain and IoTs, digitization. These are the future trends. So how do we shape these in the classroom? We designed the emerging technology and supply chain as an elective about 6 years ago. It's been taught here in our program as an elective 4 years in a row. So think from that standpoint, how do we continue to build that curriculum, not only for our students in the program, but for the executives to come to our institute, embrace these concepts, and be part of this lifelong journey of learnings. And we plan to take that challenge and embrace it well. Risk management resiliency. I mean, these things are real. It's no longer afterthought. The failure mode analysis that we have done in the past, and I've been witnessed and had the opportunity to lead Fortune 20, building the what-if plans. Honestly, we did not put enough weight in some of the variable outside of the cost. Conversations that we're having, these issues are meaningful and they weigh equally as the efficiency. We believe the visibility and the cloud-based solutions, we will prepare our students and next generations where digitization becomes a synonymous to supply chain. So let's think from quickly the disruption. Again, if we think from inventory level, right? Bullwhip, I mean, this was a classic case study that we'll look back on next several decades. Supply-side disruptions followed by demand-side disruptions. When we match the demand, supply-side disruption happens. So continue to have this bullwhip, and we're still in it. In my humble opinion, I think we're going to see this through end of 22, well into the first quarter of 23 before we normalize. And I'm sure Jeff will have an amazing perspective on this issue. Going back again, I just want to emphasize that why we're so proud to now be the institute to focus, look at the disruption, manufacturing led, the shutdown of global factories. And you would imagine the supply chain has nothing to do with the finance and insurance. That also was disrupted. Right, so the disruption due to COVID exposed a massive structural deficiencies that we think we have an opportunity to build on it. And I'm proud to say the Institute will take the lead with the support of all of you in this room and our faculties to continue to build on to this.